liberty, and justice for all.
Be seated.
Agendas of today's meeting are on the wall at the entrance to the chambers. Please remember to turn off your cell phones. The Municipal Code Enforcement Board consists of 7 members who are appointed by the City Council. We serve voluntarily. It is this board's intention to promote, protect, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Clearwater by providing this equitable, effective, and inexpensive method of enforcing certain codes within the city. The board considers new business items in 2 parts. First, the violation, and then affirmative relief. Formal rules of evidence do not apply. Each side is limited to 15 minutes. The board may grant additional time. All proceedings will be conducted in a calm, civil manner. Individuals who conduct themselves otherwise will be asked to leave. If necessary, they will be escorted from the chambers. Now I ask all who plan to speak to rise and be sworn in by the clerk.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony? I do. Thank you.
Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of last month's meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
I have a second.
Second.
Minutes are approved. Is there anyone here to speak on items not on the agenda today? Please step forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak on the subject that is not on today's agenda.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I am Bill Johnson, 2694 Redford Court West in the Countryside area. I've been here several times and showed you some of the progress that you've made. I want to talk a little bit about this report. It's the report of all the accrued fines that are on the books right now. And the total of that is $24,333,189. I have been looking at some of these and trying to understand them. And is the Elmo working or the... For instance, in May, this particular property had an accrued fine of $279,000. And then recently, it showed that it has been resolved. In other words, the accrued fine is reduced to 0, but it still looks like that. So I don't know, there's a little bit more weeds in front of the building. So that's a question that I'm trying to understand. The other one that I'd share with you is a property on Berry Street where it was a former office park that is in disrepair for several years. A fine of $375,000 accrued as of last May. And they came in, a new person bought it, and they came in and said, we're going to fix it up, we're going to make it into attached residences. And so they went to the city council and they said to the city council, but we can't make it work unless you abate the fine. So the city council said, well, give us $50,000 and we'll wipe off all the rest of it, but you must start fixing this up. All the permits have to be obtained in 3 months, which would have been October, and it still looks in terrible shape. There has been some work demolishing, but we have broken glass. The inside of the building has been tagged with graffiti. I don't know quite what the status of this is. It shows that the permits are still pending. They're waiting for additional information. I did send a email to Mr. Farino yesterday to say, can you tell us the status of this? The purpose in sharing this information with you is, you do all the hard work on the front end, assigning the fines, and we need to have follow through on the other end as far as making sure that these are followed up on. Some of them are really tough, but I thought you might be interested in this information. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there any other person here to speak on things not on the agenda today? All right. If not, we will go to new business items. This case is 4.1 on our agenda, case 32-22, continued from April 27th, May 25th, July 27th, August 24th, October 26th of 2022, and January 25th of 2023. Status update regarding respondents Coachman Creek Association at 2625 State Road 590, Building 5 in violation of code for unsafe building. State your name and for the record, please.
Members of the panel, good afternoon. My name is Nicholas Pisanius. I'm an attorney with Raven Parker and Gurley on behalf of the Coachman Creek Condo Association. When we were last here on the 25th of January, I believe I had reported that the project was underway. The permit at that time was in the queue for review. The good news today is that the permit has been submitted. The temporary staircase at that time, I believe the scaffolding was going to be installed. I was informed by Suncoast Restoration that the staircase is now currently being installed. When we were last here, I also believe I mentioned the status of the electrical plans is that they were in the process of being provided alongside the permit. I think they now have been submitted with the permit. I don't have a timeline as to when the light fixtures on the staircase are going to be installed, but naturally I would presume it would be once the temporary staircase is done. Other than that, the project is now ongoing, and I imagine that this would be a multi-month endeavor here, so I would ask that we come back candidly sometime in May. I figure that about then we'd have a better update. Of course, if you would like a more frequent update, then by all means I'm happy to appear once more and report on the same.
Okay. Board, do you have anything you guys want to talk about with this?
Can't travel anymore.
Do you have any safety things around the construction site that indicate that work's being?
I could not answer that because I have not seen the construction site. I do apologize.
Isn't the city going to have a chance to
Yeah.
report on this?
Yeah.
Well, let's just hear what the city says.
Mr. Cantrell?
Yes, they do have an active permit. I don't know if they have any safety features put up yet, but I'm sure they will at some point.
And you're happy with the progress and everything's going like it's supposed to?
Yes, so far. No, we just got to make sure the permit gets completed, and that's up to you to figure out the date on that.
So would we want to do another continuance?
So no work has been started yet so far?
No, not yet. I mean, they did the shoring up a few months ago
Yeah.
of the balconies and the stair cases, but no.
Other than that, no.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
I'd like to make a suggestion if we're going to do a continuance on this, that last time we did it the next month, and every time we do it, this fine gentleman that represents the condo puts a few more dollars in his pocket. Let's save the condo association money. Nothing against you making a buck, but, have it 2 or 3 months down the road when we think it's, a good time to look at it. Just a suggestion. I don't want any letters.
Do you want to make a motion for that?
Which one do I make? I'm new to this.
You could just make a motion that we're going to reset this for how many, 2 meetings?
What's your feeling?
Till
2 meetings
April?
or 3? I make a motion, we delay this for 3 meetings and hear back from...
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
All right.
Put
It
it
will
on
be
for
continued
status update
until,
in 3 meetings.
so that will be March, April to our May meeting?
May meeting.
Okay.
Correct.
So when's the permit going to be received, approved?
Permit is active now, that they can start work immediately.
Okay. Well, we will see you back here in May, and you can give us a status update on how everything's going.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, right, item 4.2 on the agenda, case 03-23, find respondent Circle K stores at 1501 Gulf to Bay Boulevard in violation of code for graffiti, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on this? Can I have a motion?
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Mr. Stevens, would you like to do your presentation?
Yes. My name is John Stevens. I'm a code compliance inspector with the City of Clearwater. Good afternoon, Board. This is going to be in reference to case number 03-23 for 1501 Gulf to Bay Boulevard here in the City of Clearwater. This number of violations is one. It's for code section 3-1504 for graffiti prohibited and removal required. Notice of violation was sent out on December 8th of last year with a compliance date of January 8th. Received a certified mail receipt that they had received it on December 20th of last year. And this was the original date of violation. You can see the graffiti there on the wall. That was on December 7th. Here we are on January 9th, so a day after the compliance date, and it still has not been fixed. And then this was yesterday afternoon, still there. So of course, they can remedy this by painting over the graffiti on the rear wall of the back of the property. And we request that they have 30 days to do so, so to March 24th. And if not, then we request a fine of $150 a day each day the violation exists.
I move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before March 24th. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may enter a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If the fine and fees remain unpaid, 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose settle such lien.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Board.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stevens. 4.3 on our agenda, case 04-23, find respondents Kunal Jain at 3277 Beaver Drive in repeat violation of code for short-term rentals, and issue an order that a daily fine be imposed for each day the repeated violation exists. Is there anyone here to speak on that case? Step forward. Give your name and address for the clerk.
This is the complainant, and that is the property owner.
Okay, that's a property. So the property owner comes up first.
Yeah. The property owner come forward. State your name and address, please.
Municipal, 1113 Ohio Avenue, apartment 202, Dunedin, Florida.
Could you step up to the mic? I can't hear you.
Could you just repeat your name and
Sure.
address, please?
We're Ekaterina Osipova, 1113 Ohio Avenue, Dunedin, Florida.
Could you spell your name for me?
Sure. E as an echo, K as a kilo, A as an alpha, T as a Tom, E as an echo, R as a Romeo, I as an India, N as an Nancy, A as an alpha. Osipova, O as an Oscar, S as a Sam, I as an India, B as a Paul, O as an Oscar, V as a Victor, A as an alpha.
Are you going to ask us to repeat your name? I hope not.
I will, because it's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Do you admit or deny the violation?
Deny.
Deny. Can I have a motion?
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to.
Wait, hold on.
Oh.
They denied. So
Oh.
we have to have the city present it.
Oh, city
I'm
present.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Have a seat right there in front, and the city will step forward and present their case, and we'll call you back up. I'm sorry.
All right. Hello. Rebecca Mulder with Code Enforcement Manager. I'm presenting case 04-23 for 3277 Beaver Drive. There's one violation, which is a repeat violation for Code Section 1-104B for Development Code violation, Code Section 3-9.919, prima facie evidence of certain uses in a residential zone district. So this was for using their property as a short-term rental, which is a violation of the city's code. This is the definition of a repeat violation. A repeat violation means a violation of a provision of the code by a person who has been previously found through the Code Enforcement Board to have been guilty of the same violation within a 5-year period. So the affidavit of posting was sent on 5/27/22, certified mail sent 6/7/22. This violation was previously brought before the board on 7/21, then again, which was resulted in a declaration of violation, then again on 2/22, which resulted in a repeat violation fine of $1,500, and then most recently on 8/22, which resulted in a repeat violation of $500. So 3277 Beaver Drive was brought before the Code Board in 2021 for an illegal short-term rental as well as renting without a business tax receipt. It was presented before the board and found in violation. They did come into compliance before the meeting, so it received a declaration of violation so that we could bring them back should they violate it within the 5-year period, which they did. And since then, they've been before the board 2 more times, not including today, resulting in multiple repeat violations. Before you are screenshots for each day that the department has found that they were able to book the property for less than the 31 days or 1 calendar month. So you see the 28th and the 29th showing that they would have been able to reserve a 5-night booking. Then again on the 30th, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, it was updated on the 5th from a 3-night minimum to a 20-night minimum, but that is still not within the city's ordinance. Recommendation for the repeat violation case is we are requesting $1,000 per day per violation for the following dates that I presented before you, resulting in a $6,000 fine within our code 7-103B1. If the Municipal Code Enforcement Board finds a violation to be irreparable or irreversible in nature, it may impose a fine not to exceed $5,000 per violation, and this occurred 6 times.
Could I ask a question? What is the rules on short term? Is it less than 30 or 20?
31 days or 1 calendar month, whichever is less.
31 days or less? Okay, thank you.
So in February, you can do it for 28.
28 days.
Otherwise, it's the 30 or 31, whichever applies to the month you're in.
And Ms. Moeller, have they ever applied for a BTR?
They do have their business tax receipt for a residential rental, would allow them to rent monthly at minimum, which they have been outside of that.
Okay, thank you.
I suppose since she denied this, can bring her back up, and then the complainant is also here.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ma'am, if you want to step forward.
I did want to add that she's here representing the property owner, but she's not personally listed on the property appraiser as the owner. That's why it's a different name on the agenda.
Okay.
Just wanted to let you know.
All right.
So, first of all, the screenshots, they show that you can look at the reservation, but you cannot actually book it. Because last time when we were here in August, and that was happened, you know, it was a glitch in the system, and they were able to book it for 1 day, and that's what I did on my end because I hate being here. But so, and I have some screenshot done by myself. So basically, when they go onto any websites, it asks them request to book, and then we manually approve or deny it. So I can pass it around, or I can screen it here. So whatever you prefer.
You can put it up on the screen.
Nicole, she puts them in.
Can you turn that around? Thank you.
Okay, so like you see, this is the RBO website, which tells you request to book. And I'll find another one. Oh, I'm nervous. So and this is Airbnb. Again, it says here reserve, but when you click on reserve, it will again stop you and ask to request the book. So I also was playing around with this because, again, this is not a booked reservations. Otherwise, I would be talking to someone else. So I was playing around with this, and what I was able to do, just put one screenshot on top of another screenshot with a different property. So let's say, like this nice property, which is available to book for a few nights, 3-5 nights. And I can simply put it in my reservation, and it gives me availability for 4 nights.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Thank you for showing these, and quit being nervous. Nothing to be nervous about. The bottom line question, though, is the property being rented for less time than the city requires?
No.
That's the question.
And I have the bookings here as well.
Well, that's okay, but how is the city determining that is the city determining that they're renting for less because of what's on the internet, or because they've got proof that this person is staying less than 30 days, or whatever the minimum is?
Rebecca Mulder, code manager. So when we go online to the various online booking sites such as VRBO or Airbnb, we go in and we attempt to book. There is a way to look at what is you can, as the property owner, can set a minimum night standard, which they are now in compliance with the monthly rental. Previously they weren't, and our code states you cannot advertise or rent for less than the 31 days or 1 calendar month. And their booking is not restricting or setting that limitation previously. They are now setting that restriction. Also, I would say that the requesting, not putting that minimum in and then requesting it, opens it up to allowing them on the back end without verification.
But when you went in to book, were you able to book less than 31 days?
We were able to set the parameters and move into the reservation. We don't actually pay for bookings. We don't have.
But that's my point. Could you set it and did they accept it, even though you didn't pay for it?
Yeah, we could go in, select the dates, and it didn't restrict me saying, sorry, that window is too short of a time period.
Well, I guess my basic question is, you have hard proof that they are actually renting for less than 30 days, other than this internet business?
This complaint, as well as the previous ones that have come before, were not self-initiated. They were submitted by a neighboring property owner.
Okay.
They can provide his information as well.
Okay.
And there is a witness for you all to...
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about, is all the repeats.
So, and that's why we did it this way, because technologies are not perfect. And that's what happened back in August, and, yes, the system have glitches. I mean, I printed something else for you, because I actually had a guest who was able to book for 5 nights, and he was pissed at me, saying, why are you canceling me? But I said, I have to cancel you, I'm sorry. And this was done directly on our website, and as you see, it's canceled. Because we are looking into this, because we don't want to be here. And, I mean, things that happen, I understand it was over the holidays as well, so I can take some rest sometimes and don't monitor it, and that's when it happens. And, I mean, we had a few months where it was completely empty because of this rule, so that's our claim. And, before we were talking about people canceling, like, I had a lady who's supposed to stay for 6 months. We have a whole lease with her, but she found a home and she moved into that. Life happens. So she still stayed for 2 months, and in these 2 months, like, this was ridiculous too, right? So I get a phone call from the CPD saying, something's wrong with your tenant. I was like, nothing's wrong with my tenant. So I get into the house, like, I call the tenant, I go like, hey, what's happened? She's like, I'm out of state, I'm in Indiana. I'm like, so why the police is there? So I'm thinking something happened. So I come in and someone of the neighbors decided to complain that there's no one at the house. So at this point, it's not really like, we are doing something wrong. I feel like we're just being attacked for being human beings.
But yet you had two other occasions where you paid, wait a minute, two other occasions, you paid the fines, okay, and yet it's still going on.
Well, in all honesty, the previous two cases was presented by Kunal, the owner, and I got on board not too long ago. I love hospitality, I love dealing with people, that's what I do. And we learn on our mistakes. I mean, again, this is all what we changed. So like this, I can monitor it. Even something goes wrong, like, someone canceled and this window becomes available, I will still be able to tell them, no, you cannot book it.
These mistakes can become very, very expensive.
Agreed.
Board, do you have any more questions for? No. Will you have a seat right there? And
sure.
We'll call a witness up. Come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Brent Hall, 2575 Elderberry Drive. I live right behind this resident. Realistically, you may take an oath, but obviously it doesn't matter. They've literally, the day that we had the last hearing, they had short-term rentals move in. And then they had 3 within the 2 weeks, and I think 5 within the month. They've been actually in compliance. I think they've had 4 renters in the last 3 years that were longer than 30 days. They have been in non-compliance the entire time. I've been to the council meeting, been everywhere, trying to get them in compliance. When it's a 30-day renter, it's not a big deal. But when not, I mean, my neighbor actually pulled up his thing the other day, but this is our backyard, at night. So this is what we get constantly, because they're always doing short-term rentals. They come here saying, oh, it's a glitch every single time. Oh, the next renter's a month. That's what he said last time, and it was a weekend. So, this needs to be shut down. This guy lives in Safety Harbor in a gated community, doesn't worry about this stuff, and constantly brings it into our community, saying that he's doing it for good reasons or whatever, but he's running a short-term. These fines don't matter to him because he makes it up. Because he does, what he does is he does the short-term rentals. When he gets it loaded up, he goes back to the 30 days, and then he does short-terms, gets it loaded up again, and when he gets a fine, he keeps it until the meeting, and then goes right back. So it's constant. You can ask any of your staff, it's constantly changing. So if you guys know this, you can't, you said it, it stays. You have to go in there and say, so if it's constantly having issues, it's because they're constantly changing it, because they're constantly trying to game the system.
Can I ask a question, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
I don't mean to question your, what you know and all that, but how do you know, what is your proof that they are short-term rentals? Do you,
well, they're different.
Give me an idea of how
there's a different car from a different state there.
Okay.
I've sent some of the pictures over to them.
Okay.
It's real easy. I mean, one person has a thick Southern accent, the next person has a English accent, the next person has a Midwestern accent. There's a dog, there's 6 kids, there's no kids. It's very easy just to tell.
Got it, I understand. Okay.
Plus the noise.
The noise, yeah. I mean, I can tell, the day they move in, I can tell you whether it's short-term rental or not. Because, it's not, I don't blame them, right? They're here because they want to enjoy vacation. They're here for a week, 2 weeks, they're going to be back there partying. That's what they do. And if I'm on vacation, that's the reason we have codes that don't allow for that type of thing. But this just needs to be stopped. I've been coming here for 3 years to this board meeting, right? For 3 years. I've missed a ton of work coming here, asking you guys to help, to shut this down. He's paid $2,000, hasn't blinked. Whether $6,000, actually I think they just showed another code violation, so it should probably be 7. That this has just got to stop. I've asked for the task receipt to be pulled so that they can't advertise at all, because they just cannot run a business in compliance. They have no interest in doing it and no intention to. So I don't understand why they can't just be shut down for non-compliance for this long.
All right, thank you for coming and taking the time out.
Thank you.
Tell us this, I need to bring her back up.
You want to?
You step to the podium.
Well, we had a complaint about the noise before, and again, we don't want to have our guests creating problems, so we have a decibel machine installed in the pool area, so if it's above the code, it starts yelling at them. And again, if it would be a real issue, you can always call police and they will calm them down, because we can call police for the fact that there's no one at the house. We did have a long-term people staying, as I said, so I already showed you this lease, which the lady stayed over 2 months. I'll just go ahead and move forward with that. And she's supposed to stay for 6 months, but she had to leave. But she did stay. Oh, I'm sorry. Brittany Owens. And she did stay for over 2 months, and there is all the list information. I can pass it over. Then we had another guest who booked directly with us. And this is actually, she moved in, I think, 2 days after our last hearing.
We're not denying that you have over 31-day bookings. Our problem is the ones under 31 days.
But you can see it on the dates. So it was from August 6th, so she stayed for 2.5 months. So she left mid-October, end of October. Then I have...
You said we're not arguing that. We're not arguing that
Okay.
point. So
We believe you.
we understand it?
Yeah, I understand, but you see, the dates just don't add up if we had someone there for a short term. Then we have someone, again, from October staying for a month, and it shows here that they were staying for a month. Then we didn't have anyone. Kunal was staying there with his nephew. I mean, we can pull it from the cameras. it was the owner who was staying there, and if he had a party, you know. And now we have another guest who is staying for 38 nights. They booked for Airbnb. And she's staying for 38 nights. And then we have a next guest who booked for VRBO, and they're staying for 50 nights. And I don't have anything afterwards yet.
We've heard that many times where the owner is staying there, his cousins are staying there, family, they're not charging. We've heard that many times before.
Board, do we have any more questions for her? Does someone want to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to find the respondent was in the violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case and has committed a repeat violation.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Have a seat.
You just want to go to the second motion?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's no,
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question? Counsel,
Yes.
is it possible to revoke their tax receipt?
There has to be 3 violations found in 1 year. And the problem is it's the year that the BTR is issued, which is September, I believe, to September. And so, like the dates you saw earlier, there hasn't been 3 within 1 calendar year. If we're able to hit that number, then we will be able to revoke it at that time.
And your recommendation?
My recommendation is a fine of $6,000 resulting from 6 documented days of booking attempts at $1,000 per day.
Can I get a second motion?
I move to enter an order that the fine of $6,000 to be imposed for the 6 days, the repeat fine existing at a total fine of $1,000 per day, be imposed for the 6 days of the repeat violation existed for a total fine of $6,000 payable within 30 days? Do you have a time frame on it?
Typically, the board grants 30 days.
30, yeah, payable within 30 days of fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed. The city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine up to $1,500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
All in favor?
No, can I ask a
After a
question?
second.
Oh, sorry.
Second.
Can I get a second?
Yeah, I'll second. So
Go ahead.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Are we gonna fine them $1,000 for every time they put it on the internet? Is that what we're doing?
For just the 6 days that she was able to bring it up on the internet, where it was less than a 30-day.
We do
Okay.
that to fine them because.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's, according to the ordinance, it's prima facie evidence if it's
Okay.
advertised that way. And that's the way the ordinance was written, because it is difficult, to have somebody every day, but that's what the city has looked at as being sufficient to show violations
Okay.
in this case.
Okay.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded.
Do you have any questions?
We'll
All in
also add that the property owner also is registered with the state as a vacation rental.
I have a first and a second motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Muller.
Thank you.
Thank you.
4.4 on our agenda, case 11-23, find respondents 2717 1 IH Borrower LP at 1714 Green Hill Drive in violation of code for unsafe building, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on that?
Just me.
Mr. Cantrell, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Jason Cantrell, City of Clearwater. Presenting 1714 Green Hill Drive. This is case number 11-23. Here we have one violation citing sections 3-1502A for property maintenance requirements and section 3-1503B2 for nuisances. Notice of violation was sent on 8/11/22 with a compliance date of 27 days after the receipt of the notice. That compliance date, by the way, is to obtain and complete permits. Certified mail receipt was received on 8/29/2022. A notice of hearing was sent on 10/12/2022, and an affidavit of posting was done on 11/4/22. Green Hill Drive is just south of Greenlee Drive, east of Keene Road. Here we had a water heater fire. The water heater is in the garage. You can also notice that is some AC duct hanging down, so there's plumbing, mechanical, and electrical damage there. All the damage is in the same area. More of the AC ducts showing the damage. Some of the fire damage. Nothing really structural on this one, but still quite a bit of damage. This is a rental. The tenant called me out there. Actually, the fire department called me out there. The tenant was on site when I got there, and I've heard no word from the owners.
Board, do you have any questions?
Is the tenant still in the space?
I don't know if he's still there or not. I have not heard from him.
It's still not safe either way.
They may have repaired it without permits at this point. I don't know.
All right. Any more questions?
No.
Can I have a motion?
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Cantrell, your recommendations?
For compliance to be met, apply for, obtain, and complete any required permitting and repairs. Complete that permitting and repairs by March 22nd of 2023, or a fine of $150 per day per violation that the violation continues to exist, and any reasonable cost to be applied as liens against the property. After 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines, fees remain unpaid, the city attorney's office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien using any legal or equitable remedies available under the law.
Can I get a motion?
I move to enter an order requiring the respondents to correct the violations on or before March 22nd, 2023. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
That's a lot to read back, isn't it? I understand that there.
Thank you, Mr. Cottrell.
How we make the big money.
Our next case is 4.5 on our agenda, case 12-23. Fine respondents Don and Cynthia Britton at 1802 Drew Street in violation of code for unsafe building, and issue an order with a compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on this case? Mr. Cantrell, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Jason Cantrell presenting 1802 Drew Street. Here we have one violation citing sections 3-1502A for property maintenance requirements and section 3-1503B2 for nuisances. Notice of violation was sent on 9/15/22 with a compliance date of 27 days after the receipt of the notice, and that certified mail was received on 10/30/22. Notice of hearing was sent on November 1st, 22, and an affidavit of posting was done on November 7th, 22. 1802 Drew Street is a commercial property right at the corner of the northeast corner of Drew and Keene. This is the building. It is the fashion place there in the middle. A car ran through the building. Did not damage the structure, but it did rip out the doors and windows. All of that had to be replaced and was boarded up, I believe, by fire department. That's just the curb that's been flipped over in the lot. A little closer view of what could be seen.
Was that the parking curb that they ran over when they
No, that's actually just the inside of the store. That section of the window wasn't broken. It was just toward the right of it.
I meant the parking stop that was out in
It
the parking
was.
lot. Was that the one they hit
Yeah,
and flipped over? Board, do you have any questions for this?
No.
Can I have a motion?
Recommendation?
We got ahead. Did we do a first motion? We didn't do a first.
No.
Need a first motion.
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case. Good catch.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Cantrell, can I have your recommendation?
For compliance to be met, apply for, obtain, and complete the required permitting and repairs. Complete the permitting and repairs by May 22nd, 2023, or a fine of $150 per day per violation that the violation continues to exist, and any reasonable cost to be applied as liens against the property. After 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines, fees remain unpaid, the city attorney's office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien using any legal or equitable remedies available under the law.
Can I have a motion?
I move to enter an order requiring the respondents to correct the violations on or before May 22nd, 2023. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation. For each day each violation continues to exist, if the fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Cantrell.
you, Jason.
The next case has been withdrawn. Now, to unfinished business, accept the affidavits of compliance as listed. And you said we came up all these together as one?
Yes.
This will be 5.1.1 through 5.1.3.
I move to accept the affidavits of compliance as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. All right, continue, 5.2 on our agenda, continued from January 25th, case 91-22, accept the affidavits of noncompliance for respondents Mary M. Jones at 24 Mandalay Avenue for unsafe building. Is there anyone here to speak on this?
Yes.
Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Are you sworn in?
No, I wasn't.
Do you swear affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
Your name and address for the
Mary
record, please.
Margaret Jones, 924 Mandalay Avenue, Clearwater Beach, Florida, 33767.
Hi. Go ahead.
I had to turn in a packet today. My engineer informed me that I didn't know I've been trying to reach, no one returns my calls from the building department. I didn't know that I had to answer all the questions until 2 o'clock yesterday, and so I had to type up a packet, a 30-page packet, which I submitted today. So that's in the works. I'm very sad because, my project is a small project. We've had a shortage of engineers. My own engineer is incredibly busy as well. We've had aggravating circumstances of the catastrophic disaster in Fort Myers. Collectively, I'm bearing the brunt of all these factors I cannot control at all, really. The pressure of a malicious neighbor is about ready to kill me. It's been going on since 2007. He's here today. I believe he's putting my city employees under a lot of pressure. Why is nobody ever returning my calls for critical information I need? I feel like I'm being stonewalled, but I continue to forge on as if that's not happening. My right to repair my garage is being denied. I cannot take the threat of fining. I am disabled. I can't eat or sleep. I'm very distraught because I have this neighbor that keeps pressuring my city. See, he got up at 2 meetings ago and slandered me, we live like old people at my house. He called it a whorehouse. He called it a drug house. He told the whole board I hadn't paid him any of my taxes for years, and that's not true. I just cannot bear it. Back in 2012, I had to file a federal lawsuit against a bad neighbor. The federal government decided instead to charge the city of Clearwater instead for federal ADA and HUD law that were broken. And because the code board at the time was listening to a very bad, dumb assistant city attorney, Camilo Soto, who ordered out 2 sets of my tenants illegally back in 2012. One set, the first set was all veterans for no legal reason at all. Fred Jones was one of those tenants that was ordered out. It seems to me the same thing is happening again. But I'm shaking because, not because of any of you, because I have no problem with it, but I'm shaking because this slanderer guy is here. Do you have anything to say, Al?
Please address your comments to the board, ma'am.
Ms. Jones, you say you're not getting a return phone calls. Who's not returning your phone calls?
I called, what's the building guy?
The City of Clearwater?
City of Clearwater, Robert Bryce, quite a number of them, and I got answers.
The City of Clearwater?
Right.
Thank you.
Planning and development? Planning and development, is that?
Yeah, I mean, I've got all these different departments. I've answered them now, but I really don't need a whole lot of information from them because it's all pretty much easy to deal with, but every once in a while you'll have a question. Like, for example, I didn't know it was my job to answer all these questions as the building contractor. I thought my engineer was doing all that.
Well, that's information they could have provided you with.
Yeah, they could have told me, hey, Jones, you're the one who needs to answer all the questions. Whether
You asked?
Yes. I didn't hear anything. I'm not getting calls back. But, life goes on. My own engineer was actually the cause of the delay this time because he didn't get his electrical updates in until yesterday as well.
But hasn't that been the case every time you've been before this board? It's always your engineers are lacking?
Well, for a long time, it was because I couldn't find an engineer. And then this latest one, he's been moving real slow too, claiming he's so busy, he's got these other bigger jobs.
I remember that from last month.
Yeah. So, and I can't control that,
Well, how slow is it? I mean, can't you find one that's fast?
You can't find one. Nobody is available to do the engineering, or we have a lack of engineers, contractors, and architects for some, reason, whether it's the storm or whatever. And I have all my crew waiting. It's, I'm confident with the job and everything, but, we've got all the answers to the city's, questions now, and it has to be processed. But if they're letting this bad neighbor somehow influence their governmental decision-making, which is not okay, that's what the city was charged.
Well, that's hearsay. You don't really know that.
I hope it's not true, because if it's happening all over again, that just really freaking me out. I hope it's not, and I'm going to believe it's not happening. But he keeps showing up, and I had great friendly relationships with all the people in the city, but as soon as this guy started haranguing them, you know, all of a sudden they're like more like stonewalling and stuff. And you can understand why, because if somebody's, you know, pressuring you and scaring you, it's easier to just give the guy what he wants and, you know, make me destroy my building, you know. It's easier to do that than to deal with somebody who keeps pressuring the city of Clearwater for no reason.
But you need to direct your comments towards us, not him.
Yeah, well, I'm scared of Al. I've been scared of him since 2007. I'm terrified. Now, if you guys, you know, vote to begin the fining, I don't think I can take it.
Board,
I'll just have to tear the building down.
Thank you.
Because I'm done.
Do you have any more questions?
Can't do it.
No.
Have a seat, ma'am.
Okay.
Does anyone else here to speak on this case? Step forward, give your name and address for the city, for the clerk.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin Garrett. I'm the building official for the city of Clearwater. And just a couple of points that I would like to bring up to the board so you are aware of that, which I know you are. You've read your agenda and you read the minutes and know what we're talking about today. This is a hearing for, well, it's an agenda item for non-compliance. We are submitting an affidavit of non-compliance. Simply, did they comply by the date or did they not comply by the date? They did not. We're submitting the did not, and that's it. The case has already been heard. It's already been talked about. It's already been considered. Affidavit of compliance, did they meet the board order or did they not? The other thing I'd like to bring up is we in the building department issue probably about 1,000 permits every month. Small ones, big ones, things that cost $100, a few $100s, to things that cost several $1 million, many millions of dollars. People get engineers, they get contractors, they get drawings, they get it in, they get it out, the calls get answered, everything moves, life goes on. You see it all around you. You go up and down every street in town. There's construction from the west side to the west side, and I just want to remind you of that. That's really all I have to say. Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board, do you have any discussion? Yeah, come on up. Have you been sworn in?
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony?
State your name and address for the record, please.
Freddie Jones, I just moved. My address 1100 Drew Street, Clearwater, Florida. I'm here on Mary Mark's behalf. She's my friend, been my friend for 20 years, 28, 29 years, and I don't understand why that she might have to be fined. I understand the rules that she might have to be fined because of she done met the code, but she's been trying very hard on all the engineers. Matter of fact, I'm down with her every day. Matter of fact, I didn't want to call the engineer that she talking with now. She didn't get him. I got him. She laying there trying to figure something else out. I got that engineer, Scott. I got him for her and told him, man, this is the guy that we need to have. That he want to help you work on this house. This is just a small garage. So he started working. He got with Mary and they started working together. And he got the print in. The blueprint. The print in. And we all got the print now. And they haven't even, made no ruling on it and gave it back to her. But just gave her some other addition stuff that she had to complete. And she thought, and I did too. And I'm with her all the time. Like, well, no, this stuff you don't have to go to the engineer because he got to do all that stuff that I can't understand because I'm not an engineer, I'm not an architect, I'm none of that stuff. And I can't, and then now all of a sudden she just figured out that she had to do it, and it's like, you're going to be fine tomorrow. They say, have all this stuff in right away, so why is it her fault that she have to be punished for something that she didn't have no understanding of, and nobody really trying to help her with it. And then also, she'd have, like he's saying about the engineers, that like she said the same thing, all these people are building around her, and she's not building at all, and she can build it if ever she had the opportunity to build, and if y'all give her the opportunity, she'll build that. And can meet all them things with code, but you got so many now different that I see that I don't understand that she have to comply with. And I'm like, wow, all of a sudden, right now, she having that much time. But she did, we was calling on the engineer before the hurricane and all this stuff come out. And when that hurricane was coming, Ian, Nicole, they all coming out, and couldn't do anything. And we was trying to get engineers or somebody to come in and help her out on, give her an opinion on can they remodel the garage. Nobody. And then the weather kept holding her back, but she kept waiting and waiting, and she calling, and she writing, she calling the city, and she getting a response. I come down sometimes to talk to her myself and say, look, what's the problem? What's the holdup? What we have to do? And they say, well, she has to do this and do that, or either that or tear it down. I'm like, wow, why can't we just let her build it? Let her build it the way FEMA wanted, the way that you wanted it. Let her build it if it's not going to be built right. They come in there and just tell her tear it down, and she has to automatically tear it down, you know? But you find her and put more pressure on. How can you build something you get a fine for when she's trying? She don't want to ever know that's trying to do the best for the city of Clearwater. But now also, Scott, Mr. Al, I hate to, just go against him like that, but he's my friend, I thought. We worked there. I've been there with him for 10 years, and he stood up here like last month, before last, and criticized her, about her property, and the way she lived and all that, instead of minding his own business. And the only thing is, the problem is just a garage that's burnt down. What's got to do with our taxes and the people that live there and all that stuff around, and the woman going through enough problem. As a matter of fact, I would happen to be living in that shop when it burnt down. See, I'm the one that was living there. But he slammed her, and I'm like, wow. I watched on TV, and I'm like, what, really? I thought he was our friend, and he was trying to support and help her, but he's not. He's here to destroy her because he wants to buy her property. He wanted her to lose. He wanted her to have to go into foreclosure. Why? Why take something from someone that worked so hard for it? She really loved her property. She worked so hard for this, and she's trying to, keep it. But some people trying to say she wants to tear it down or move or something like that. And they can't do that to a human being. I don't think. That's not fair. Like I do myself, I look the other way. I never look at his house. I just mind my own business. I go my own way. Let you live. Just got to just live.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Live, That's just wrong. I moved because he told me to run to the hills, go to the mountains, get away, be careful who you associate with.
We're getting a little off subject here, but thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Appreciate it.
So, do we have or do you need to talk?
You need to talk about it or move?
Oh, do we have one?
Do you wish to speak?
Do you wish to speak, sir?
I've been spoken about, so I think.
Well, come on up and give your name and address.
Come on down.
And for the record,
Were you sworn in?
No, it was not.
get sworn in and then give your name and address for the record.
My name's Al Hunsberger.
If you could just, let's do this part first. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony?
Of course.
Thank you.
926 Mandalay.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
I'm sorry, Al Hunsberger. Actually, it's Alvin. 926 next door. Were any of you here when I was here last time? Or were you all here? I don't recall.
I was.
Yeah, not January, but.
No, I wasn't.
I think you'll then recall the things I did say that she claims that I said that are libel or slander. I didn't say anything that didn't actually happen. I literally had a harlot or a call girl walk into my house that was supposed to go to her house. This is years back. It didn't happen recently. There's not the same activity that goes on there today, okay? But this event happened. I got people who vouch for me, okay? There's been many violations of what I understand the code to be, okay? You can't have people sleeping in the garage if it's not got a CO. Is that correct? Yes?
This is a code board. They're here to hear whether or not they should accept an affidavit of non-compliance.
Great. Well,
Questions.
I'll drill down.
Direct them to the city.
I will drill down.
So let me, the building inspector, gentleman from building department,
Jason Cantrell.
he laid it out pretty clearly. We're just here to decide whether there's a non-compliance or not.
I get it.
understand you're trying to protect your good name and all, but you don't need to do that with us. We believe it, but please go ahead. I'm just telling you, we have a simple decision to make.
First of all, I'm here to offer $3,000 to pay for the tearing down of the building. I don't know that she has the funding to do that. I'm doing that in front of you all to show that I'm not some bad guy, okay? I've done a lot of buildings. I just constructed a 7,000 square foot addition to my barn in Pennsylvania, so I know that the building's got to come down. You can't construct anything. If you've seen that building, I can show you a picture of it, okay?
Mr. Huntsberger, I've heard this before. I remember you.
Good.
Get to your point.
Point is, I have just as many rights as anybody else on that island.
We're not denying that.
My fence was burned down. 10 grand came out of my pocket to repair something that shouldn't have needed repair. So when are my rights enforced?
This is not, again, all they're here is to hear whether or not there's compliance or not. That's all.
There's not been compliance, and there continues to not be compliance.
If you have anything to add to that, otherwise the board will make a decision.
Well, I continue to look at the burned out building, and I'm offering to take the building down at my expense.
That is not before the board.
Something
The
you
board
have to
is
work out
just
with her.
deciding whether or not their order was complied to or not.
This happened last June. This has gone on too long, okay? I have a responsibility to my family, to my grandchildren, so that they live in a safe location, okay? And I don't think we need to look at the burned down palm tree that's still sitting there and the burned out building. And you need to rectify it, or I'm going to need to get council involved again. And I'll sue the city for not doing their job, because I'm not umbrage with her. This is an accident. It happened, okay? But they're not making the right decisions, and the city's not forcing them to make the right decisions. So you're going to pay for my lawyer and whatever else, if it goes that far, if it's a year from now, whenever I come back from Pennsylvania, okay, and nothing's been done.
Sir, excuse me for interrupting, but I think the city is making right directions. It's just not moving quickly enough, I think, for you. We're going through the process to make the right decisions. If you let us make our decision, then you can decide whether we made a right decision.
I just said, I'm going to give you a little bit more time, but
Thank you.
this time next year, it's not going to be good.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry for interrupting.
No, that's okay. Do you want any discussion between, is everyone, you good? Can I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to accept the affidavit of non-compliance and issue an order that imposes fines and states if fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Let's see, the 5.3 has been withdrawn. Other board action, 6.1, case 35-21, request to stop a lien accrual for respondents Totten, Maryland Totten Trust at 1279 Druid Road East for inoperative vehicle. Is there anyone here to speak on that?
Board, I have neighbors here to speak about this property. Daniel Casman, City of Clearwater.
Would you like to present yours or let them go first? It's up to you.
I'll talk and I'll let them come up and speak about it. This property in particular, 1279 Druid Road, was actually brought forth back in April 2021 by my coworker Yusuf Touré. I don't know if any of you were on the board then. It was about a property where there was a bunch of stuff going on next door, grass parking, an operative vehicle, vehicle repair was being done, they had a commercial vehicle, many violations. All those fines have been running for over 2 years now. What I'm looking to obtain today is just stopping the inoperative vehicle lien so that I can go buy the property and have all the vehicles towed off that are inoperative. So I just would like to show you guys a few photos of what it looked like back in the day and what it looks like today, and then I'd like to have the neighbors come up and speak a little bit as to why we're asking for this. So, as you see, there were many violations here at this property, but we're just here to really speak about the inoperative vehicle. This was Yusuf Touré's photos back in 2019. This was the front of the building, 1279 Druid Road. This is what the rear of the property looks like. There's a bunch of work being done on vehicles back there. There's a bunch of junk back there. As far as I know, the woman who owns the home, the gentleman who is doing all these things is her son, Kenneth, and he doesn't like to really speak with us anymore. So this is what back in 2020, this was just some of the vehicle repair that was being done out front. This was in 2021 in the rear yard, and I know I was there personally to help Yusuf take some of those photos, and then I went back. This is back in 2023 this month, just showing the outside. It's pretty calm up front, but then when you look in the rear of the property, again, it's just the same thing is going on. This was on the 8th. There's vehicles back there. Some of them don't have license plates, some are in various states of disrepair, and there's also a bunch of stuff and items on the ground that need to be cleaned up and taken care of.
Is there an alleyway, how they're getting to the back?
Yeah, this white fence right here that's been decorated by the gentleman living here swings open and allows access to the backyard for vehicles to come in.
For you?
What's that, sir?
That sign for you?
Oh, I'm not sure
I
if that's
remember
correct.
this case, Daniel, and is it still the same today?
Yeah, I went back yesterday, and a few new vehicles showed up, so it looks like there's a rotating procession of vehicles. What we're aiming to do is to maybe find a way, if we're taking them off the property and cleaning up the property on the regular, that the gentleman will cease these activities, seeing as though it's getting in the way of him running his business. So if the neighbors would like to come up and speak about it, I'd like you guys to hear something.
Before you leave, you said there was access to the back. Is that a public access or?
No, it's just on the side of the home, there's a white gate out front.
Off of the street?
Yeah,
They can come
it's
off
off
the
of
street.
Druid Road, it's a busy road. Most of the properties are set back with really long driveways.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have you been sworn in?
Please turn off your phone.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony?
Yes.
Thank you.
State your name and your address for the record, please.
I'm Amy Leet, 1278 Druid Road
No.
East,
1283.
1283, sorry, Druid Road East, Clearwater, Florida, 33756.
My name is David Graves. I'm her husband. 1283 Druid Road East.
Go ahead.
Well, you go first.
You go, okay, well,
Spotlight is on you.
yeah. We've been dealing with this issue for a few years now. Like Daniel said, we came here a couple years ago, there were liens put on the house. He completely disregarded those, has continued to run a business out of his home. We have been dealing with this, living right next door to it. He has lights shining into our windows, he plays loud music at times. He has cars, that he's pulling in and pulling out of his backyard throughout the night, throughout the day. And like Daniel said, it's just rotating. So sometimes it's a little less, sometimes it's more. Just a couple months ago, there were maybe about 7 or 8 cars in his front yard. He just happens to be working from his backyard right now. So it would just be really appreciated if we could get some type of relief. So we're hoping that you can enforce this.
Have you had a conversation with him?
Yes,
Yes.
several times.
And?
It doesn't go anywhere. Oh, yeah, I rented a storage unit and I'm going to work over there. That was 3 years ago. And I asked him about it like a few months later, and he said, oh, well, that fell through. So, I mean, you can't believe anything that the guy says. And the alleyway that they're talking about where the vehicles come in actually is in between our 2 houses. And he's already pulled a box truck back there and hit our fence, and now my fence doesn't open and close properly, among other things. And unfortunately, the people that are associated with these vehicles feel that they're entitled to go back and get into their vehicles at any time. And we've had ambulances come over with drug overdoses on the side of our house. There's constant people in and out throughout the day and night. We have cameras. That's what the sign was for, because we put cameras up on our house. It's just the police are constantly over there. I mean, I've already filed a complaint with the police over noise and things going on, but they come out and they say, well, just, talk to them or something about it. They really don't do much for us, so we don't know what other steps to take other than to try and help you guys with the enforcement of the code.
So
Our biggest thing is if maybe this rhetoric stopped happening, then the other rhetoric may go away. I mean, the police are already involved with drug trafficking and all kinds of other different things that are going on over there, but these people know how to work the system, and they're getting around it however they need to. I mean, Kenny's constantly in jail. We can look at his rap sheet all the time, and when he's not there for a day or two, we know he's in jail. So unfortunately, the types of cars or people that he's dealing with, I don't want those kind of people around my home and my wife's home working from home. It's not a comforting.
You feel unsafe?
Yeah, that's
I'm
why.
sorry you're going through this. It's not something that citizens
Thank you.
should go through.
So the artwork was directed for your cameras, huh?
Yes.
The artworks, yeah?
Well, I've got videos of them trying to whack my cameras with their broomsticks and, they're above the law.
Well, it makes me feel better that they're not sending that signal to our city code enforcement people.
Right.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming.
Sure.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Kasman?
So, in a sense, I guess I don't know what the form of the order has to take, but I'm just asking that the fines be stopped for the inoperative vehicle violation so I can tackle it as an abatement issue rather than a fine
I'm
issue.
looking at what one we make. How do we make it?
Just make that one.
I make the motion that he just stated. Can you state that again for us?
An abatement issue.
I would like to stop the fines for the current inoperative vehicle violation at 1279 Druid Road.
Can I have a second?
Okay.
Making an abatement issue right now.
I would like to come back later. I don't know if that needs to have be part of the order.
No.
Can I get a second on that?
I'll second that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Board.
Mr. Kasman. Okay, now on to the nuisance abatement lien filings. We will have to do these, we can't group these anymore, so we'll do them all separately. 7.1 on our agenda, case 14-25, accept the nuisance abatement lien for respondents Glozal Village LLC and Rebus Salas LLC at 1510 Berry Road for lot cleaning, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and authorize the city to mitigate the violation if compliance is not met. Is anyone here to speak on that? Mr. Kasman, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Board. Daniel Kasman, Code Enforcement Inspector for the City of Clearwater. This is for 1510 Berry Road. It's a nuisance abatement, case number 14-23. I wasn't expecting it to come up earlier in the meeting, but here it is again. There's one violation here for Code Section 3-53, B5A and B7 for accumulation and placements of nuisances and lot clearing. These are the dates of notice of violation, the compliance date, and the affidavit of posting are at the property. Here's a photo of 1510 Berry Street, Berry Road.
Is it road or street? 'Cause
I've been told, I was not aware of this property for a while, but I've been told it's changed hands several times over the years, and every new owner had a different plan for this property that never seemed to go anywhere.
Daniel, where is that located at?
It's right off of Highland and
Yeah,
Jefford,
okay.
Jefford Street.
We know that very well.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I live 2 blocks from there. I live on Berry Street. That's why I said, this is not Berry Street, this is Berry Road.
Well, there was some work looking like it was going to be done at the property. They do currently have a demo permit for the property, but in the meantime, the grounds of the property are so littered with garbage and
Yeah, a lot of
every
vagrants
manner
stay
of
there.
broken glass. I'll show you some photos here. I've been in contact with the GC. I've been trying to get him to clean it up. He keeps telling me he's going to have it done. They even have a dumpster there in the property. It just doesn't seem to happen.
What happened to the fence that they put up around it? It's gone?
There were circumstances and they took it down.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
So, if you look from the far, you'll see that there's a few doors, some plastic and glass on the property. Here's the posting. The day I went by and finally posted it, it looks like somebody had broken into the one storage unit on the property that was still full of old paperwork from the office when it used to operate back in the day. This was on the 24th of January. As you look around the grounds of the property, there's doors, there's pieces everywhere, have not been cleaned up. I mean,
it's getting worse.
If I've been a laborer for a few years myself. Any demo site we've been working on, we clean as we go. You wouldn't be leaving debris around like this for people to trip over. A lot of it's being caught by the silt fences on the property. I went back on the 7th, and I did see a gentleman there who said he had been hired by the owner. It was just him by himself with no tools cleaning up the property. He did manage to get a little bit done, but the grounds are just completely unacceptable in any way, shape, or form. This is just some of the outside sidewalks. Like I said, just glass, litter. The entire property is graffitied. I will be taking this also soon as an attractive nuisance because the fence has been taken down and everybody has access to it. It's being graffitied. There are people living on the 2nd floor of the building.
Can, can I just interrupt and make a motion on this? I mean, it's pretty clear. We don't have to wait for a recommendation. You just make the motion, is that correct?
Yes, it's a nuisance abatement.
Okay, let me make the motion. I move to an order to find the respondent in violation of the code and requiring the respondent to correct violations within 5 days of the board's written order. If the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry into the property to abate and maintain the nuisance and charge the respondent with a reasonable cost, which will become a lien on the property. If costs, fines, and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much, board.
Bring out another one.
On to 7.2 on our agenda, case 15-23, accept the nuisance abatement lien for respondents Joanne Klein at 2387 Nash Street for lot cleaning and issue an order with the compliance deadline and authorize the city to mitigate the violation if the compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on that? Mr. Jensen, you have the floor.
Thank you. Dave Jensen, Code Compliance Inspector of the City of Clearwater. This is for 2387 Nash nuisance abatement. Case number is 15-23. It's not nearly as exciting as anything you've seen so far. I just want to get some. It's going to be one violation, 1503B7 and 1503B8. It's also a lack of maintenance for the right-of-way, which you'll see here in the pictures. These are the dates for the notice of violation and the posting at the property. Compliance date was 2/6/23. Nothing's been done on the property. I have made several attempts to try to contact the owner. The owner actually has a mailing address outside the city in Venice, Florida. From what a neighbor here tells me, she owns this property. Her son lived there for about 6 months. He moved out 4 years ago. No one's been at the property since. Checking our utilities records, things have been off there for water and sewer since about November of last year. This property has had several violations in the last few years of the same thing. Mow the grass, it gets mowed, but we have to go through the whole board process to get there. So the owner is aware of the process and is aware that the property has to be taken care of. The neighbor I have spoken to says that in the past, up until a couple of years ago, she has talked to the owner as well and said, hey, come over and get the grass mowed. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So that first picture here, you can see behind that tall grass, you can see a little bit of my 1-foot tall cone. That's how tall the grass is there. That's out in the right-of-way, and that's right where a drainage structure for road drainage is at. That's the side lawn of the residence. We're getting overgrowth up into the soffit. If this doesn't get taken care of, we're going to have to look at an exterior surface violation as well. After the posting, this is that drainage where the easement's not taken care of. Now people, in the last couple inspections I've done in the last 2 weeks, people are starting to drop grass clippings from their mowing somewhere else on the property because they're realizing the property is empty and it's not getting taken care of. So instead of having to bag their grass clippings, they're just dumping it there. So,
Mr. Jensen, can I ask you a question? You may not know the answer to this, but when the city notifies them and they don't do anything, does the city come out and mow it and then charge the homeowner?
That's what will happen here, yes.
And is that just going to be a continuing process? Will we have to do this every couple of months? Is there any way we can stop this continual?
There are a couple different ways it can go. If I say something incorrect about the procedure, let me know. But yeah, we'll go out and take care of it this time as long as the board approves that. It'll be basically the 5-day waiting period after the board's decision. We'll go out, it'll get mowed and taken care of and cleaned up. And I think we can actually do a process where every time after that, we don't have to come back to the board and ask for that. It can just be, an order can be put in. So 2 months from now, if I go out there and see it's all grown up again, I don't need to go through the whole process. I just get a hold of our contractor, they go out and pick it up.
Good, then I'd like to make a motion.
Wait a minute, I want to have Ms. Mulder.
Is that correct?
Sorry, I'm trying to speed things up.
Rebecca Mulder, Code Manager. I was just clarifying. So all the nuisance cases that you hear, we're making a recommendation and requesting a board order, which then allows our code inspectors to abate the nuisances, such as the debris or an overgrown lot, using our contractor or vendors, and then put that cost back to the property to pay. If they don't, then that's when the liens get filed on the property for the cost of the abatement. And those board orders are good for 5 years.
Now can I make a motion?
Thank you.
Make a motion.
I'd like to move to enter an order finding the respondent in violation of the code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations within 5 days of the board's written order. If the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry into the property, to abate and maintain the nuisance and charge the respondent with a reasonable cost which will become a lien on the property. If costs, fines, and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, motion
Thank you.
passes.
It was kind of boring.
I do what I can.
7.3 on our agenda has been withdrawn. 7.4, case number 22-23, accept the nuisance abatement lien for respondents Joanne D. Amadio at 2896 St. John Drive for a flowing dumpster and issue an order with compliance deadline and authorize the city to mitigate the violation if compliance is not met. Is there anyone here to speak on this? Ms. Brown, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. And Chairman Brown, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Welcome to your post. Shelby Brown, Code Inspector, City of Clearwater. This is a residential property at 2896 St. John Drive. It's a nuisance abatement case, and it is number 22-23. So there's one violation here. It's your garden variety accumulation of debris at the property, but it's a large-scale accumulation of debris at the property. It's a public nuisance, and that condition is covered by sections 3-1503A, B5A, and B7, which is for lot clearing, violation, or accumulation of debris. So here's the information on our contact with the property. I first went there and actually at the door hanger on January 24th. There's a dumpster at the property. It's been there for several weeks. It's not a Clearwater dumpster, and it's overflowing, and you're going to see pictures. I left the door hanger. I got a call from the occupant saying they were going to work on it. Nothing happened, so on February 3rd, I did a notice of violation. I posted it at the property. I sent it out to the property owner, who is deceased. We'll get to that later, with a compliance date of February 10th, and then we did an affidavit of posting. So we did all of our notices so that everybody knew what was going on. All right, on January 24th, we went, and there's an overflowing dumpster. You can't tell from the picture, but folks, it smells. There's flies. All that stuff had been in there for weeks, apparently, because this is not a Clearwater dumpster. This was ordered, and everything was filled up, and they didn't pay for it. So it just sat there and kept getting fuller, fuller, fuller. There's no utilities at the property, so it was a mess. All right, I went back on February 1st, and same thing was happening there. And you can see I put a little orange sticker there on the left side that says, "This is unlawful, get it out of here." I wasn't sure how we were going to get it out of there, but I just knew that we were going to have to, and Solid Waste did say they could yank it, out of there if we needed to. All right, on February 3rd, I went back, and I was unable to post my notice in the ground because it was so hard. So you can see I kind of lodged my violation notice there on top of the heap. All right, so on February 10th, the dumpster's gone. But everything that was in there got pushed out and put under some tarps that were there. And then along the east side of the house, there's some items as well. I don't like to get too close to this property because something's not right there. I was able to see a little bit more of the loose trash, shopping carts, things along the east side of the property on that day. And then on February 15th, I got a call from Clearwater PD. They had made a narcotics raid at the property and asked me to come out and be able to get some pictures safely. All the contents of the house were out. All of the occupants were ejected. Big pile in the driveway and then along the side of the house. This is what the entire property is like. I'm not going to show you pictures of the whole property, but rest assured, it's a mess, it smelled, it just is a total nuisance and needs to get cleared. And that's what we're going to be asking for permission for, to get an order to do that. So that's what needs to happen here.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Can I get a motion?
Do I have to read this one again?
You're doing
Hey,
great.
better you than me, Mr.
You're doing great on it.
I move to enter an order finding the respondent in violation of the code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations within 5 days of the board's written order. If the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry into the property. to abate and maintain a nuisance and charge the respondent with reasonable costs, which will become a lien on the property. If costs, fines, and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you very much.
Motion
Brown, may I
passes.
ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
You said you felt that you were concerned about getting too close to the property because of your personal safety.
Correct.
I brought this up many years ago when I served on the board to the city. Does that happen very frequently, that you're concerned about your personal safety? I've always been wondered about that, because you're going up to people saying you're not doing something right, and not anything against you, but you are not Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, me and Daniel and my other coworkers, we may have a different experience when people see us come into the door. Yes, we feel unsafe sometimes, but sir, I've been doing the job a long time. If I don't feel right, I will contact police. I'll have backup. I hadn't been up close on that property in a bit, but I could tell right away people were living in the garage, and I could see paraphernalia around, so I got away. So if we don't feel safe, we're going home at the end of every day. So we work with the police very well, and they help us quite a bit.
Very good. You've been at it long enough, Shelby. You trust in your own feelings.
Very good. Yes, I do. And if I need somebody to look over a fence, I get one of my coworkers there. We're a little higher than me.
Especially Daniel.
Correct.
He's tall.
Thank you very much.
If I may add on to this, Ms. Mulder, I'm not questioning how you're running the organization, because I've been to 2 meetings now, and I'm very impressed with how your code inspectors present their cases before the board. I think you're doing a terrific job.
If there's not anything else before this board, we are now adjourned.
Thank you. Good job, Mr. Chairman. You did great, man.